Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome on in. Welcome to the 411 podcast. What's going on, everybody? I want to say thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you all. If you could please do me a favor, please like, please comment, please subscribe, please tag a friend, share it with a friend, text a friend. Do whatever you can do to help bring people into the 411 podcast. I definitely do appreciate you. Before we go ahead and get started for today's show, I want to go ahead and give a very special thank you to my executive producer. I want to thank God. Thank you so much for giving me another opportunity to come out here and do the thing that I love to do best. We are here, we're up, and I want to say thank you so much for coming in. This is going to be a great episode. It's touched home a little bit. It takes me down memory lane a little bit. And these are real life situations that we speak about each and every day here, each and every night. And if we could just get through to one person, if we have one breakthrough, if we have one aha moment, things can change. So, yes, we here, Transformational Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining Tuesday. It's the 10th today. I can't even believe it. We are rocking and rolling through June already. Tonight's episode, Comfort Cost. This 5 Restoration, the 4-in-1 podcast, episode 27. So now, I'm going to go ahead and do a little recap of what we went through last night. Shout out to anybody from Trenton, New Jersey. If you out there, holla at your boy. We had our first assignment from Trenton, New Jersey. Devin, 29, originally from Trenton, but he recently moved to Atlanta, Georgia to get a fresh start. So last night's episode was interesting because there's something where people feel guilty when they finally make it, when they finally have that breakthrough moment. If you come from nothing and all of a sudden you become something, there are people out there who feel a little guilty that they're actually doing good. And they start to feel a certain way when the people around them don't level up or rise to the occasion. So I don't know who I'm speaking to tonight out there. I'm only speaking from experience. But if you get to a point where you might start to feel a certain way because you're able to live differently, you're able to shop at different places, you're able to go and make moves differently from the people that you grew up with or where you come from, and there's always somebody that says, don't forget where you came from, which is so true. We never want to forget where we came from or where we came from. Don't forget. We just need to do everything we need to do to make sure that we don't go back. So Devin felt a certain way, and the extra money that he did have, and when he did level up, he just gave it all back away. He gave it away to the people who didn't want to help themselves. He gave it away to the people who just wanted to get a handout. So if you want to learn about how we navigated last night through Devin's situation, please go ahead and watch that replay. The replays are available on YouTube. You can also get the replays on Facebook. You can get them on X. You can get them on D Live. You can get them on Twitch. You can also get them on Daily Motion as well. So, and plus I place snippets on several different platforms as well. So if you want to find out more about last night's show, please go ahead and check that out by checking out my social media platforms. Everything is at Laren Gaines. So let's get into the song of the day for today. Cranes in the Sky by Solange, released in 2016 off of her album A Seat at the Table. So we're going to have a seat at the table tonight, and we're going to speak about some comfort cost, because it definitely does cost. If you want comfort in your life, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you something, whether it's going to be emotional, whether it's going to be physical, whether it's going to be financial, and in some cases spiritual as well. So, we cover all different realms here. Track 27, Comfort Costs, We're going to get into this cranes in the sky. So when Solange is speaking, and I want you to think about your situation, because we are all one and the same. We are all interconnected. So as we go through tonight's assignment, as we go through tonight's scenario, I want you to just think about your situation. I have a rhetorical question to ask you as we get towards the end of the show for some reflection. So Solange speaks about whatever situation she's going through, and she tries to drink it away. She tried to put one in the air. She tries to dance it away. She tried to change it with her hair, and she ran her credit card bill up. And that's just the first opening of the song. We ain't even get into all of the other stuff that she tried to do. But right there and then you run the credit card bill up. So, of course, what we are here to speak about is money. So we're going to stop it right there. And I want to say, as we listen to Solange speak about all of the things she tried to do, drink it away, put one in the air, dance it away, sex it away, change it with her hair, even ran her credit card bill up. Now we're going to need to back up a little bit, because now I've been there before. And then you ran your credit card bill up. How many of y'all out there have been there before? But at what point do we just want to pump the brakes and say enough is enough? And then we get into the next situation. And then we do the same thing over and over again. And then the same thing over and over again, thinking that we're going to change it by doing all of these different things, dressing a certain way, acting a certain way, going to places, doing this, doing that. Nothing you can do will fix the inner turmoil unless you stand over the sink and have a good long look at that person staring back at you in the mirror. No people, no person, there's no lover, there's no friend, there's no job, there's no car, there's no house, there's no money. The only person that could fix all of the situations that you have going on within you is you. Everything starts with self. My previous employer, they did a great job of challenging the managers to find the root cause of the issues that we were having within our teams. And through those scenarios and through the training and through the teaching, there were some breakthrough moments for myself, because everything that we are looking at right now here is just surface material. If you have a situation, if you have, back and forth drama and nonsense, whatever the case may be, within your household, within your spouse, within your situation on a job, sometimes that's just surface level. But we need to start to dig down deeper to figure out what the root cause is. What is causing you to give me an attitude? What is causing the situation for you to show up the way you are showing, disrespectful as a human, whatever the case may be? I'm just throwing it out there. It could be anything. Dig down deep and figure out what the root cause is. Now, through that training, I did such a good job of dissecting everybody else's problems, everyone else's situations. They came to me as the go-to person. Hey, Laren, I didn't even know that I was being a coach back in the day, but this is the whole setup process. I was doing it, working for somebody else, and now I do it, working for myself. But I did such a great job of dissecting and figuring out everybody else's problem, but I wasn't the one who, at the end of the day, took that long, hard look in the mirror. Because just as well as I'm a coach, I have a mentor and I have coaches and I have people that I look up to help keep me on track. So I don't know everything, and I need to look up and I need to continue to study and educate and learn and grow myself as well. Don't wait, people. Don't wait until you're like Janet Jackson and Joni Mitchell and all of a sudden you wake up and you don't realize what you have until it's gone. I was that person. I was that person. You are your most valuable asset. Everything starts with self. I continuously say that time and time again. Everything starts with self. And as we dig in tonight's show, we're going to understand that everything starts with self. But my mentor always hits me with this: Laren, make sure that you choose wisely. After you've learned everything that you've learned and the BS that you've been through and the drama that you've been through, most of the time you did it to yourself. Nobody did it to you. But now that you know better, we're going to do better. but choose wisely. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I say that I choose me. And as we get into tonight's situation, as we get into tonight's scenario, we're going to help out Miss Vanessa in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to everybody who's representing Charlotte, North Carolina, South Carolina, the Carolinas. I want to say thank you all so much out there for rocking with the Form 1 podcast. But just remember, everything starts with self. Choose wisely. Today, I choose you. I choose me. You choose you. We're going to help out Miss Vanessa here. 36-year-old single mother of two in Charlotte, North Carolina. And she says, Laren, I've been working in customer service for over a decade and recently took on a second job to catch up on the bills. Sounds very familiar from my past. I just want to let y'all know that. I realized something about myself that I never wanted to admit. I spend emotionally through food. I binge eat fast food when I'm sad. I reward myself with DoorDash on payday and order takeout just so that I don't have to face the silence in my house. I calculated it. In the last 6 months, I spent over $2,800 on food delivery alone. So when I did the math on that, that was approximately $25 a day that she's spending while she's at work. I'm assuming at work, and we're going to dissect this and get into it a little more. But $25 a day. So just think about that for those of you out there who might be in the same scenario. And this is not on groceries. This is just emotional eating and private moments of stress. My weight is up, my energy is down, and I feel trapped in a physical cycle that's costing me financially, mentally, and emotionally. How can I start holding myself accountable physically in a way that frees me from the invisible debt I'm carrying in my body and on my bank account? She says I'm tired of being tired, and I want to reference Fannie Lou Hamer that says sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I'm going to take this back to the top. Vanessa's 36-year-old single mother of two who lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's been working in customer service for over a decade and recently took on a second job to catch up on bills. She realized something about herself that she never wanted to admit. She spends emotionally through food. She binge eats fast food, and when she's sad, she rewards herself with DoorDash. And on payday, she orders takeout just so that she doesn't have to face the silence in her house. She calculates about maybe $2,800 on food alone within the past 6 months. And when I did the math, it was about $25 a day. And that's just on restaurant dining, DoorDash, takeout. That's not her shopping at the grocery store. This is just on emotional eating and private moments of stress. So this is basically her eating by herself in stress, no one else around, $2,800. And that's within 6 months. Her weight is up, her energy is down, and she feels trapped in physical cycle that is costing her financially, mentally, and emotionally. She wants to know how can she start holding herself accountable physically in a way that frees her from the invisible debt that she's carrying in her body and on her bank account. She's tired of being tired, and I say, based off of the famous quote from Fannie Lou Hamer, sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when you are in some of these situations, when you want to break free and you want to live debt free, you have to get to the point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of yourself. Sick and tired of being sick and tired of doing the same things over and over and over and over again. Let's get into this. I got my pen, I got my pad, and I'm ready to go here. So, single mother of two. We don't know what the situation is like. We don't know what the past trauma is like. We don't know the ages of the children. But from experience, being raised by a single mother, being a single parent on my own as well, it ain't easy. So you got stress level there. So we need to do anything that we can do to make sure that you are healthy, that the kids are healthy, and we're speaking from all of them. Spiritual, because a breakup is never easy. So we got to get spiritually grounded. Mentally, we got to make sure that the family is right. You right, the family is right. Physically, which that's already an issue because we're going to get into that because we clearly know that there's some issues when it comes to the physical realm with all of this fast food and takeout that's not helping and supporting the situation. And then, of course, financially. So we already know that we need to focus on all of these, but more so based off of the information that I know, the physical is an issue and the financial has become an issue. And the reason why I know that the financial is an issue because you have to take on a second job. Now think about this. $2,800 in 6 months, and now you're forced to go ahead and get another job. So your eating habits is causing you to have to work. Now, my question is, if you didn't spend as much money as you did on the fast food and the eating out and the dining, would you need to get a second job? And if you did need to get a second job, would you need to put in as many hours as you probably are putting in now? And on top of that, being a single mother. So this is kind of disturbing right off the bat because now I want to ask this question. Do you think that Vanessa is thinking about her children? I know that sounds terrible and that might be harsh, but are we thinking about the family unit here? Because the more that you are working, that's the less time that you're spending with the kids. Now, maybe she picks up this work when she's not with the children. I don't know. There's nothing here that says anything about a father. There's nothing here that says anything about custody. There's joint custody, nothing. So only thing I could think of is that you're just a single mother and you're just rocking this thing out by yourself. Now here we get into this. You realize something about yourself that you never wanted to admit. You spend emotionally through food. Binge eat fast food when I'm sad. So now I'm going to stop right there. We need to figure out what's making you sad. Single mother, maybe it's the breakup. I have no idea. Then you reward yourself with DoorDash on payday. So when we sad, we eating. And when we happy, we eating. I've said this before. The first sin dealt with lack of something. And that lack of something was food. So the enemy was able to trick Eve into thinking that she didn't have something when basically she had everything. She had everything except one thing. So you had more of one than you had the other, but you got tricked up in thinking, oh, because I don't have this one little simple thing, forgetting about all of the other stuff that you had. We needed to focus on that one thing. So, and of course, that one thing was food. So no coincidence that when most people are in debt, and even you out there, if anybody who is not in debt, or maybe you are, I don't know what the situation is, but I challenge everyone to look at last month's bills, look at last month's credit card statements, look at last month's bank statements, tally everything up. I can almost guarantee that food is going to be in your top 3 list of your expenses. I guarantee that food is going to be up there. And I'm talking about grocery store, I'm talking about restaurants, I'm talking about dining and all of that stuff. I'm sure that that's going to be at the top of the list. This one here, we need to figure out what the situation is that makes you sad. Because you're binge eating. Now that word binge, that's a lot. That means you just keep going on and on and on and on and on until you snap yourself up and say, okay, I'm done. And I don't know what that breaking point is. And you reward yourself with DoorDash on payday. Every time you get paid, that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to go ahead and reward ourselves. And now you order takeout just so that you don't have to face the silence in your house. So that leads me to believe that the kids aren't there all the time. And when they're not there, you're eating. So now Vanessa, I know it sounds harsh, but it just seems like Vanessa is just eating all over the place. Like whether you're happy, whether you're sad, the kids are there, they're not there, you're just eating. and it's costing you. And it's costing you, and now you have to go ahead and get another job, which is taking time away from you, taking time away from spending time with your family. The most valuable thing in this world is time. People think that it's money. People think that it's cars. People think that it's all of these materialistic things, but you can get all of those other things. You can't get back your life, and you can't get back time. Time is more valuable than money. She says that her weight is up and down. Excuse me, her weight is up and her energy is down. Yeah, right there. Your weight is up and your energy is down. Typically, that's what happens when you eat fast food. Your weight is going to go up and your energy level is going to be down. You're going to feel drained. You're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel slothish. And you feel trapped in a physical cycle that is costing you financially, and it is. And it's costing you mentally and emotionally, because mentally, you don't like what you're doing. You don't like the weight. You're in this cycle, and emotions are up and down, and it's costing you financially. This is a bad situation. And you want to know, how can you start holding yourself accountable physically in a way that frees me from invisible debt and the debt that you're carrying on your body and in your bank account. Vanessa doesn't list exactly what type of debt, how much debt. She just basically said what she's spending. Maybe she's not in any severe debt, but the first thing that I can say is everything starts with self. So if anybody wants to know how they can hold themselves accountable, how Vanessa can hold herself accountable, the first thing is to just stop swiping a credit card. Even if you have a bank card, it may not necessarily be a credit card. You might be taking it out of your own checking account. Stop using the card. You might need to go to a cash envelope system where you start to budget out exactly how much money do I have for restaurants this week? How much money do I have for groceries this week? How much money do I have for, X, Y, and Z this week? And I'm going to put it in an envelope, and I'm going to use cash to buy those things. What's going to happen is you won't have it attached to the card, so it won't be attached to your bank account. You've already taken the money out and put it aside, so that as you're going and you're spending, you are mentally seeing and going through the motions of actually how much money is being spent. When we have that little plastic card, and if we're not good with money, and if we're not good with budgeting, and if we don't know what's on the other end, we can just swipe, 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 and swipe ourselves into a situation, swipe ourselves into overdraft fees, swipe ourselves into over credit limit fees, maxed out credit cards, all types of situations, because you're not visually seeing what's going on. You actually having the cash in your hand, when you run out, because when you run out, it's done. It's a wrap. And if you stay on that cycle, it will teach you how to value money a little bit better than what you did the last cycle, and you'll be able to ration it out properly. But it takes a very strong person to be able to say that once this money is done, this money is done. I'm not going to go back into the bank account. I'm not going to hit up the ATM. I'm not going to pull out my credit card. That's when I said you have to be to a point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Because if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you have hit rock bottom and you can't get any lower, and you're maxed out on this, you're overdrawn on this, you will figure out whatever you need to figure out to make this thing work. And if you've had enough of living like that, robbing Peter to pay Paul, once you do start to make some headway, and you are at the point where you're like, forget that, I'm not going to do that again, I am done with that, that's when you know that you've made it and you are on the right path. You have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. This is not for the person who is going to take the money out, put it aside, put it in the envelope, and then once the envelope is done, now we're running to the bank account and pulling it out and trying to do, robbing Peter to pay Paul to make it work, just so that you can get the things that you want to get. So I would say physically, this is one way that you can start to do it. Another thing that you can start to do is pick better food choices. I don't want to dismiss that part, because when we are eating all of these fast food restaurants and door dashing and eating out at restaurants, and we're not physically home making the food, we don't know the source. We don't know where it's coming from. We don't know if it's real. We don't know any of that stuff. We're just eating it because it taste good and they put all types of stuff in there to get us hooked. When you are not making healthy food choices, it's going to show up in your financial world. It's going to distort your mind, and you are going to become addicted to the flavors, the taste, the sensation of being able to have it at the drop of a dime. Snap your fingers and it's done. You just go and order it and it's right there. You're going to become addicted to all of that stuff and wrapped up and trapped up into the situation. So if you want to break away from that physically, we need to start making better food choices, which will help you physically. So what are you eating? Are we going for the burgers and are we going for the fries, or are we picking healthier food choices? Are we going for the more natural foods? Yeah, maybe it might be a little bit more expensive in the beginning, but as you start to fine tune things and work things out, in most cases, you're going to feel a little better. So you won't constantly feel as if you're hungry all the time because you're making better food choices. Your energy levels are going to be up, and you're going to be able to go from point A to point B without needing to stop and fill up again, as what we've done in the past. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking from experience, but I used to live off of fast food. It wouldn't be normal for me to be in someone's drive-through at least 3 to 4 times a day. Started off with Dunkin' Donuts. You name the fast food restaurant, I was there for lunch. I was there for dinner. And then when you are living like that with someone else who is on this vibrating on the same frequency as you, it's just so easy for me to go and have, a little snack. What we eating? Where we going? Yeah, we had, I'm not gonna name the place, but we've had that. Yeah, we've had that 3 times this week. So let's just go ahead and go here and go there. Better food choices. Better food choices is going to help you mentally. Once you get your mental together and you can start to think clearer because you're consuming higher vibrational foods, you will make better financial choices. This is all interconnected. Yeah, you might need to spend a little bit more on something that might be a little more substantial. Okay, so that means that you don't eat out that much, because if you were eating out 5 times a week, you're going to be spending a little bit more money to eat better. Now, maybe you only go out 2 times a week. Maybe it might be 1 time a week, just once, because we know that when we do go and spend, we're going to spend enough to cover from all of the other nonsense that we were doing before and chop it down half of what you were spending. Let's not dismiss going to the grocery store and doing it yourself. Doing it yourself, cooking it, knowing where it came from for the most part. And we won't know everything unless you go to the farm and, pull it out yourself. But go to the grocery store and attempt to make it work and make it happen yourself. Pack your lunches, meal prep. I guarantee you won't be spending $2,800 within 6 months if you start to make sure you meal prep and you have your food together for the week. And maybe you go ahead and you want to say reward yourself. Reward yourself because you did such a great job of brown bagging it for the whole week. And then on Friday when we get paid, yes, we made it through. We didn't go through the drive-through. We didn't order DoorDash. We made it through the whole week. Okay, so now I'm going to reward myself, but I'm going to reward myself with something a little more substantial than the fast food restaurants. So when you do sit down for that one meal a week, you're able to order something that makes sense for you. I'm tired of being tired. This is what Vanessa says. I'm tired of being tired. And I say, are you really tired? Because you have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired in order to make this thing work and make this change. I get it. You're in customer service. I was in retail for over 25 years. And what started off as a joke, because anytime anything used to bother me in the retail sector, in that type of environment, it's fast paced. It's always changing. There's always BS. There's always nonsense. This person calls out. This person is doing this. This one is giving this one an attitude. This one is sleeping with this one. This one is doing that. This thing over here became a situation. This person stole this. We don't know what happened to this. Money's missing over here. This person's talking about this one behind. Oh, and by the way, Laren, this person said this and said that. Just a whole bunch of nonsense. Then that's just surface level stuff. That's not even getting into the half. I'm going to write a book one day about the nonsense that goes on in the retail environment in the corporate world. Once I get connected with the right person, because I want to make sure that we do this thing right, we got something coming to. I got stories to tell. But it started off as a joke. Whenever I get stressed out, Laren, you want me to go get you something? And then my closest managers, it used to become a joke like, oh, he has an attitude. He has this, he has that. Let's go and get him some food and make him happy. So they would run to Dunkin' Donuts, go do whatever, get me a snack. We had Pizza Hut. We had all types of stuff. I said I wasn't going to name names, but we had all that stuff around. And what happened is something that started off as a joke, something that was just whatever, became normal. Then my boss would come through, and if something didn't go right, something wasn't right, she'd be like, you need to take a break. You need to go eat something. You need to go take a break. How about you go take a break and come back? So it became normal that every time something went wrong, every time something didn't go in my favor, every time somebody pissed me off, every time there was a situation, that I would just go and emotionally eat. Then it became even a bigger problem when I became a district manager and I was driving around in a car all day. You know how many fast food places that's when I will tell you that that's when I probably hit the peak, as I'm driving around from store to store to store to store, and I can see all of the fast food restaurants and see everything I'm going to eat. And if I missed it on the way up, you better believe that I stopped on that way on the way back home. I gained probably over 20 pounds. And when I stopped eating the fast food, when I stopped doing the district manager job, when 2020 happened and we were forced to get locked down, that's when I started shedding all of that extra weight. But I put on a good extra 20 pounds by emotional eating, doing some of the same things that Vanessa is speaking about here. And there was no magic situation that happened. What it was is that I had some time to sit and think about my situation, and I was able to change things by quieting some things down, silencing some things, shutting the noise off. One thing that's concerning here in Vanessa's situation is that whenever you do get time, whenever it is silent, you start to eat. So shutting things down and getting quiet, and I would say getting into your prayer state, getting into your meditative state, that should be key. But it seems as if, and I've heard this before, that when people just can't sit with themselves. They constantly have to be ripping and running. They constantly have to be in the company of somebody else. They constantly have to be doing something, because once they get quiet and once they get in silence, I've had somebody tell me like that, that's when the devil starts to interact with them. Now, I'm not saying that that's the situation here, but it sounds like there's some issues and there's some trauma here, because when you get in silence, that's when it becomes a problem. But in most cases, for some of us, we want that silence. We are doing a lot. We are working a lot. We are caught up in the matrix so much. And people just say, oh, I just can't wait till I have that day off, or I just can't wait till I have some time for myself, or I just can't. So here, Vanessa, when you get this, you start to eat. And this eating situation is costing you money and costing you time, costing you energy, and you need to go out and get another job. And if I didn't know any better, you probably are in some sort of consumer debt because of this. So I would say, again, this is if I was in Vanessa's shoes, because I can't tell anybody what to do. I'm not here to give anybody advice. I'm just speaking from real life experiences, and I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking from my experience. First thing I would do is evaluate and take that good hard look in that mirror and see, okay, what is it going on here? What is it that I need to do? And this is what I did. And everything starts with self. I started to get with myself. I stopped worrying about what everybody else had. I don't care who I was attached to at the moment. I don't care what the situation was at the moment. I started to turn inward and focus on Laren. And once I started to do that, my eyes started to open up and see things from a spiritual lens. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. And then from there, I started to get my mindset together. And once I started to get my mindset together and I started to think differently about the choices that I was making and the decisions that I was making, it showed up in the physical realm because guess what? Now I'm no longer going to these fast food restaurants. I'm no longer signing up and eating what you want to eat. I backed up. I stopped eating meat. I turned in back to a pescatarian, which I was years ago, but I decided to go along to get along and fit in, get in where I fit in, and started to make poor, uh, you know, eating habits just because I wanted to be with somebody else and do what somebody else wanted to do. Like we spoke about last night, being a people pleaser. So I said, no, 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 no. Let's back this thing up. Let's go back from day one, before all of this stuff happened, when you were by yourself from day one, because everything starts with self. What were the things that you were into? What were the things that you enjoyed? Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. What were some of the things that you enjoyed to do? And for me, it was a non-meat eater. I was always intrigued by it. And even when I was younger, and I was like, when I get to a certain point and I can start to make my own food choices, this is what I'm going to do. In doing that, I started to make better food choices, which would help me focus on my mental. And then, of course, it showed up in the physical. And then, of course, these are all interconnected. It showed up in the financial because guess what? I'm not spending all of that money doing all of the poor habits. So these are all interconnected. But again, everything starts with self. We can't get to one until we do the other. If you have something different tonight, based off the way that I dissected this situation here tonight, you might have a different take on it. You might have a different spin on it. You most certainly can reach out to me and let me know how you feel about tonight's assignment here that we dissected. 609 200 1098. That is the official 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines hotline. Let me know how you feel about tonight's situation. You can also email me at info at larengaines.com. If you have something that you'd like me to bring up here tonight on the show, send that to me. You can DM me as well. I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I am on X, YouTube, TikTok, DLive, Twitch, Daily Motion. Let me know what you got going on here. You never know. We might go ahead and use your situation as a scenario to dissect and help us all learn, educate, grow, get to the next level. We can make it anonymous. I could do whatever we need to do to make this thing work for you if you have some questions and want me to get into some of your scenarios. Right now, we're getting ready to get into the burning question. Again, that number is 609 200 1098. That is the official 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines hotline. You can go ahead and comment and let me know how you feel. Text me, let me know how you feel about tonight's question. Burning question. What is your body trying to tell you through your spending habits? This is a rhetorical question. What is your body trying to tell you through your spending habits? As I spoke about my previous life, the old version of myself, 20 pounds over my normal weight. My body was telling me that tired, sluggish. I didn't feel good about myself. I had a little attitude when summertime came. Didn't want to pull my shirt off walking down the beach. Finally, I said, you know what? This is just ridiculous. You don't sit here and have an attitude at somebody else because they did the right thing. They made the right choices. They focused on themselves and they focused on their body. How you gonna get mad at somebody else? I think one summer I just finally said, that's ridiculous that you even can frown your face up or look crazy at somebody because they put their work in and you didn't. I wanted to be that one that could walk around with my shirt off and feel good about myself. And it took me till 2022. I finally took a picture in 2022 where I was able to take my shirt off and be okay at the poolside. So 2020, I got it together and I shed the weight and I put the work in, but it took some time. So if you are out there and you might be in a situation where you may not be feeling so great and feeling so wonderful about yourself, remember everything starts with self. And what we are experiencing today is basically what we were thinking about yesterday. So whatever situation that you're in, if it's not the ideal situation, just remember that that's because of your thought process. That's what you were thinking. That's how you have been thinking. So in order to change that, you're going to have to change your thought process. You're going to have to fix that. And you can. Today could be the day where you're just like, you know what? Absolutely not. I'm just not going to do it. I know for me, it was life changing. In 2019, when I met my mentor, I said, I don't know what's going on. I'm spinning out of control. My life is crazy. And I'm seeking. I need some help. I'm done with this. 2019, it started a chain reaction. And the breakthrough moment happened in 2020. And as I continued to work, I never stopped giving up. I'm not saying that it was easy. There were some times when I wanted to give up. I kept pushing through and pushing through and pushing through until I got the results that I wanted. And 2022 was a great year for me. A great year for me in some aspects, but then in others, it was an eye-opening situation. Like, okay, we made it this far, but just don't get too comfortable. We made it this far, but you still have some work to do. And as I stand here today speaking, it's the same situation. There's just levels to this. We don't all of a sudden get to a certain point and just say, okay, we're going to go ahead and do easy street. We just going to go ahead and back up. We just going to go ahead and put it on cruise control. There's different levels. And I'm sure you've all heard the term new levels, new devils. There's always going to be something. So we have to make sure that we're prepared and we're on point because we never know what's going to be thrown at us. In your current situation, what is your body trying to tell you through your spending habits? Look at your own situation. Like I said, go back last month. Look at your credit card statement. Look at your bank statement. Look at the top three. We're going to just say the top three expenses that you had last month. Most likely food's going to be up there. Of course, you got your housing. Of course, you got your car. I get all of that. Those are a given. You may not. Okay, so if they're at the top, pull them off because that's a given. Food should be right underneath there. Now, if you really want to have some breakthrough moments, dig a little deeper. So, okay, this is how much money we spent on food. What did we buy? How many times did we go to a restaurant? Now, how many times a week did we go to a restaurant? When I go through it, I'm like, all right, sometimes, all right, back up. You done went to too many, restaurants. You done did too much last week or vice versa. And it keeps me in check. Do I love to eat? Absolutely. I think food is amazing. Especially paired with some great wine. Okay, I'm right there. But that doesn't mean that I have to take advantage of a situation. One of my own personal quotes that I have to speak to myself is you can have a little bit of everything that you want in life. You can't just get crazy over Excuse me, I'm going to back that up. You can have a little bit of anything that you want in life. You just can't get crazy over any one thing. Whether it be food, whether it be money, whether it be sex, whether it be a relationship, whether it even be your job, whether it be that house, or whether it be that car, whether it be whatever extracurricular activities that you do off on the side. I don't care what it is. You can have a little bit of everything that you want in life. You just can't get crazy over any one thing. And in this scenario that we went through tonight, it seems like Vanessa has got crazy over that one thing. Sometimes we do it with people. We start to put people on a pedestal. We start to think that this relationship is everything. We start to put our time, our energy, our money, our focus into that one thing. And then when that situation falls and crumbles, because listen, God is a jealous God and we can't have any other gods. So let's not walk around making gods. Money, people, this, that, job, cars. So listen, nothing ever stays the same. And once you start to put so much time and energy and focus, yes, it could crumble and fall. What goes up must come down. And in Vanessa's situation, we clearly see that this is a what do we call that? A house of cards situation. It's not built on a steady foundation. That's not going to be able to sustain over a long period of time. When you put people on a pedestal, what's stopping them? Everything changes in life. Nothing stays the same. Someone can wake up tomorrow and do a 180 on you and say that they don't want to be with you. And guess what? That's exactly what that means. We can't get crazy when things don't work out our way. All right, listen, I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking from experience. It was a breakthrough moment for me. It was an aha moment for me. A lot of these things that I spoke about in tonight's show are some of the things that I have battled majority of my life. I'm just here to be an example, to be a witness. Maybe I can help somebody else break through. Burning questions. What is your body trying to tell you through your spending habits? If you want to go ahead and chime in on tonight's burning question, please do me a favor and please text me 609-200-1098. You can also drop it in the comments and let me know what you have going on here. I would appreciate that. And let's see. I think I have a comment here. I do not have a comment. I thought I did, but that's okay. Also, I want to speak about this too. And I know I probably shouldn't bring this up. I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but I have had somebody that has been doing the most. I'm going to just put it that way when it comes to interacting with certain platforms. And I appreciate all of the love and support that's out there from different ways. But no is incomplete. What do they say? No is a complete sentence. That's exactly what that means. Let's just leave it at that. No is a complete sentence, and I'm going to leave it at that. But if you don't get a response, I'm working on it. I will try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. That does not mean that you have to continuously keep sending the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. And then, of course, I'm going to just contribute that to spam. And depending on what platform I'm working with, they're going to probably contribute that to being spam. I'm not going to put the person's name out there, but if you're listening, I'm sure you know who you are. And as I used to say back in the day, unacceptable. So this is tonight's show. I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there listening. I appreciate you. The best thing that you can do to help support this movement is to, number one, just check me out. I drop daily content right here, same place. Check me out daily. Please like, comment, share, subscribe so you can get all of the notifications. Tag your friends. Save the videos. Share the videos. Do whatever you can do to help support and stay connected. You can check me out on Facebook. You can check me out on Instagram, X, TikTok, D Live, Twitch, YouTube, Daily Motion. The audio version is available where most podcasts are. So Spotify, iHeartRadio, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Pocket Cast, you name it. It's on so many different platforms. So wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, just go ahead and check that out. And if you find that we are not on the specific platform that you're used to, just shoot me a text, shoot me a DM, and I will try my best to go ahead and make that work. If there's something that you felt that was that aha moment, something that triggered you tonight, something that said, that song, Things That Make You Go, If you've had that moment tonight where you might want to learn a little bit more, like, what is this guy speaking about? I want to know what he's talking about, this debt-free living type of situation. Head on over to LarenGaines.com. You can learn a little bit more. You can also sign up for my free monthly newsletter called Whispers of Wisdom. Awesome, inspirational, motivational content delivered to your inbox once a month. And it's all centered around everything that we do here at Black Diamond Consultations. I focus on debt-free living. How do we get out of debt and how do we stay out of debt? And we focus on doing those through 4 realms, 4 lenses, 4 pillars: the spiritual, the mental, the physical, and the financial. That was the journey that I embarked on in 2020 when I decided to get up and take responsibility for myself and get my life together. And it did not happen overnight. 2020, I started and in reality, there were some shakeups and there were some setbacks in 2022 that catapulted me to get myself together and get my situation together to help clean it up and have a breakthrough moment at the tail end of 2023 going into 2024. So this was a process. This was a journey. So whatever you did to get into debt, whatever you did to get yourself into a situation, it's not like we just go ahead and flip the light switch on or at the snap of a finger and all of a sudden we're done. However long you've been digging yourself a hole, not saying that it's going to take you that same amount of time to get out, but it definitely is going to take you something. And I can help you with that. You can also go ahead and head on over to LarenGaines.com and sign up for the free 15-minute consultation. Apply to see if you qualify, because we need to make sure that this is a good match. This is a good situation. I need to understand that you really are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you have hit rock bottom and you don't want to do it anymore. This is not for everybody. Debt-free living is interesting and not everybody can handle it. I'm just going to put it that way. It's an interesting lifestyle. It's a way of life. You have to basically give up being dependent on somebody else to fuel your situation. You have to want to be the person to fuel your own. Head on over to LarenGaines.com to find out more information on that. Now, tomorrow, we're going to have a good show tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, Wind Down Wednesday. We always have a great time sampling some wine. I got some white wine. The weather's going to be good tomorrow, so it's going to pair very well with the weather. I have my mentee coming in, friend of the show, author Birdman313. So as we go through the assignment tomorrow, you're going to get Birdman's perspective. You're going to get my perspective as well, and we're going to tie this thing all together with a nice bottle of wine. And I have another book reading as well, so we're going to pair it with some financial literacy tomorrow. 7 p.m., same place, at Laren Gaines. Check me out tomorrow, Reading Between the Wines. Mark your calendars. Tag your friends. Bring them in. Lots of laughter. Lots of good time. I just keep it real. These are real life situations, and we just go ahead and let it do what it do. Tomorrow, Reading Between the Wines. see y'all tomorrow. I want to say thank you so much to everybody who joined in, who have stayed throughout the whole show. I appreciate you, and I will see you when I see you. Have a good night. Wind Down Wednesday tomorrow, author Birdman 313. Check me out.